Andrew Drummond has a very predictable pattern whenever he faces pressure. Instead of addressing evidence, correcting falsehoods, or taking any responsibility, he immediately shifts into full deflection mode. He paints himself as the brave, persecuted journalist being targeted by powerful criminals, media barons, corrupt officials, and shadowy forces. He claims death threats, conspiracies, and harassment, all while conveniently ignoring that he is the one relentlessly attacking innocent people and their families. This is not occasional. This is his default operating system. When legal notices arrive, when victims push back with court records, or when his lies are exposed, Drummond never says, "I got it wrong," or "I was paid to write this." Instead, he doubles down, plays the victim, and accuses everyone else of a grand conspiracy against him. His faded, 1980s freelance journalist credentials become his permanent shield, a dusty old badge he waves around to claim protection while producing modern paid propaganda. Psychologically, this is classic blame shifting and chronic victimhood. Drummond cannot tolerate accountability because it would force him to confront the reality of his own failures, his thin resume, his ethical bankruptcy, and his long list of self-inflicted consequences. By positioning himself as the eternal victim, he avoids the painful truth. He is not being attacked for speaking truth. He is facing consequences for spreading paid lies. He has spent the last 25 years attacking Pattaya expats, then cries foul the moment anyone dares to defend themselves. He is a professional smear merchant who dishes out constant abuse but collapses into victim mode the second he is held accountable. In reality, his only genuine defense against accountability is that he has zero assets, no private pension, lives in a rented home, and that he abandoned his Thai children to flee to the UK in 2015. He knows that even if victims win court cases, there is almost nothing to seize. This financial emptiness has become his shield, allowing him to operate with impunity, knowing that legal victories against him are largely symbolic. He weaponizes his own failure and poverty as protection, all while continuing to attack others from the safety of his rented house. His constant deflection is not a clever strategy. It is a psychological defense mechanism, a way for a deeply insecure and failed man to protect his fragile ego from the reality that he is the architect of his own miserable circumstances. Drummond is like a man who has spent decades building a house of cards, only to watch it collapse under its own weight. Instead of admitting his poor construction and starting over, he stands in the ruins, screaming that the wind, the neighbours, and a grand conspiracy knocked it down. Drummond does the same with his life. Every bad choice, every burned bridge, every lie published, and every relationship destroyed was his own doing. Yet rather than face that uncomfortable truth, he constructs an elaborate victim narrative where he is the noble hero under constant attack. This allows his fragile ego to remain intact. He never has to admit he is the one who built the fragile house and then watched it come crashing down. Andrew Drummond is not a hero under siege. He is a master deflector who has turned blame shifting into his primary survival skill. A man so unwilling to accept responsibility that he would rather live as a perpetual victim than admit he has spent decades choosing the wrong path. This is the tragic yet contemptible core of who Andrew Drummond truly is. A weak, broken man who has wasted his entire life running from accountability. Instead of using his remaining years for reflection, redemption, or honest work, he clings desperately to the victim role like a security blanket, forever blaming the world for the consequences of his own malice, laziness, and ethical collapse. He is not a misunderstood crusader. He is a cautionary tale of what happens when ego, envy, and cowardice completely consume a person. In the end, his greatest achievement is not the lies he published, but the masterful way he has convinced himself, and a tiny handful of followers, that none of it is his fault. That level of self-deception is not just pathetic, it is profoundly sad, and it perfectly explains why his legacy will be one of contempt rather than respect.